hold on. I just want to pour myself a drink really quick. I
Yeah,
feel like
sure.
I need to take the edge off.
Sure. I'm gonna keep this in.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
It's been a stressful season 8, man. Just
It
went
ended
out.
for him like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. I don't
Yeah,
know
it
what
was-
he's stressed out about.
Oh, that's the stuff.
so
All right,
good.
I'm all ready. We can go whenever.
Jesus. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 4th episode of the Crisis Point podcast. My name's Shane. No, I'm not. Surprise.
You're not, Jay.
I'm not Shane.
Oh,
Who's the
razzle
real
dazzle.
Shane? I bet
We're
you didn't
keeping
see
this
that one
in.
coming. What I meant to
Definitely
say
keeping that.
was, it's been a long day for me. What I meant to say was, today I'm here with my co-host Shane.
Hello, that's me.
That's you. I'm Ryan, for those who don't know, and I'm also here with our special guest host Ben.
Hi, I can also be Shane today.
We're not all Shane, guys.
We can't all be Shane.
Okay, all right. I guess I'll be Ben then. I'll be Ben.
So we've I think it's been like 2 weeks since we last recorded. So what have you guys been up to during that time?
Ben, you want to start?
Yeah. So I just finished. I think last time we mentioned I had gotten all the Hydra release stuff that had come out, along with Human Torch and all of that other fun stuff. So we finished putting them together, and we primed them, and officially Armin Zola is all done. We're really excited about Zola being finished. And we just signed up. I just signed up for a con, big tournament in Boston in December that Shane and I are going to be going to, and I'm super excited about that. So I'm just kind of in scheme mode right now,
Gotcha.
and that's kind of where I'm at.
Always scheming.
I'm always scheming and plotting.
I'm also, as you just said, I've also just signed up for the same con in Boston. I think, what is it called again? Everwinter Con or something?
Yeah,
Or-
the Everwinter Con. Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be a MCP tournament. I think they're capping at 32 players, and I don't know where the tickets are, but that should be fun. That's like first or second week of December.
Yeah, December 3rd.
Yeah. So Ben, you've been playing Sentinels.
Yeah, I've
We've-
been playing a lot of Sentinels, a lot of robots.
Yeah, we've been getting some practice games in with the Sentinels. How are you liking them?
I love them. One of the big things that I love is Sentinel Prime. I've actually been trying to find him a nice splash home as well too. I love a size 5 robot Shuri. It's just that can actually like deal out damage. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. I think his ceiling is really really high. And they just came out with 2 tactic cards that we just played a couple days ago, which were really fun. One is you basically flip an injured Sentinel, baby Sentinel, into a healthy Sentinel, which is nice. And I was able to pull that off, and I brought a robot flying Sabretooth. So he like gets the fly keyword and is immune to poison and bleed, and so I think there's some really funny, goofy stuff that you could do with that. What is it? What is it called? Under Your Skin, I believe it's called. Yeah,
Yeah.
Under Your Skin. Um, so there's going to be some really neat stuff that you can do with that. Black Panther is going to be amazing with that card as well. Anyone that has a long move that doesn't have wall crawler or flight.
Yeah, the size 2 long movers.
Yeah, really really love that. So I tried it with Sabretooth the other day, and Sabretooth was actually pretty fun. And my other scheme that I've been scheming recently is trying to make inspiring monologue work. um, uh, Unfortunately, Shane keeps not hitting the person that has the inspiring monologue.
Yeah, it's really easy choice actually.
It's really frustrating. Um, but I'm determined to make it work because I think it's a great card, and there's some neat stuff that you can do with it. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and I've been playing against your Sentinels, and that's a interesting team for sure. The problem I think is that you're not putting Cassandra Nova on the board with them.
True.
She is the best character after all.
Well,
So
let's start. We if we just go down a rabbit hole for a second, I think Shane is a hacker now because Cassandra. We played a game. We did foes against Web Warriors the other day,
Mhm.
and I was feeling Spidey. And I've never seen Cassandra Nova's sonic tricks and traps shenanigans trigger so many times. Uh, it's 4 dice. It's 4 dice looking for crits and wilds, if I'm remembering correctly.
Mhm.
And the first one he does, he rolls like 3 crits. Just blam! Just explodes Miles like, what? What?
Yeah.
What? What? Oh, I guess I'm just dead. Excuse me. I'm just dead.
Well, that was in that game, nobody else was doing anything. It was just Nova. She was the
Yeah.
whole team.
Yeah, it was
Um
1v5 and I still lost. Yeah, 1v5 and still found a way to lose that. So, yeah, it was insane. I've never seen that go off as much as it does. And because we did the math, right? It was like 60.
It's 68 to get 1 damage.
Yeah,
60 or no, I'm sorry. 68% chance you get at least 1 damage.
right.
Um, it's like a 40 something to get 1. It's like 30, maybe low 30, maybe high 20 to get 2. Um,
Impossible to get 3.
Really low to get 3. I never get 3. I've never gotten 4 ever. Somebody asked me that the other day because I play a lot of tricks and traps. I've never gotten 4. Um, but no, the best part was when I had Black Panther. I did mental
Oh yeah.
domination on a Black Panther, made him walk back, used tricks and traps, dazed him, and then had the dazed Black Panther punch Miles in the face and kill him.
Yep.
And I'm sitting
Uh,
there and I've still got 2 actions left, and I'm like, oh,
yep.
I just dazed 2 characters.
Just days 2 models without using an action. So that felt great on the receiving end. So yeah, that was my last MCP game was just getting exploded by shenanigans. No, but I going back to Sentinels. I think Sentinels might be another affiliation I might dip my toe in besides Brotherhood. So I'm excited to see where they can go.
Thinking about him for Everwinter? Early schemes?
It depends on when Blob and Pyro comes out. Because I've already said this. I've announced it on the Brotherhood chat and a couple other places. The second Blob and Pyro come out, the next event I'm going is just all mono Brotherhood. It's all mono Brotherhood. No splashes. Just slapping for mutants.
Yeah.
Mutant and proud, baby.
There you go. So I
Makes
guess
sense.
what I've been up to, after I got knocked out of season 8, I kind of like strayed from the beaten path a little bit, and I started playing. I started messing with different things other than foes. I messed around with Asgard a little bit after our tournament, which Ryan, you could talk about that in a minute. But I I messed around with Asgard for like a solid week, and I was really like into it, and I was like really enjoying the preparation and the list building. And then every time I put it on the table, it was just like violence, and um, it was like I felt like I don't know, something was like Asgard is not my faction, clearly.
We just slapped it right out of you. I
Yeah,
warned you.
it came right
I,
out.
I warned you, so we had to slap it out of you.
Oh my goodness, it was like I was driving myself crazy. And I know a lot of people talk about like, "Oh, I don't use that character." They like I always roll bad with them. And I've always like turned my nose at that, you know,
Mhm.
because that's not rational, of course. But Thor, Thor has changed my perception truly. I've never seen a more useless guy than my Thor on the board.
Mm.
It was just bewildering. It was like a higher power. Like maybe it was Thor himself was telling me not to play Asgard. Um, so I did that for about a week and a half, and I moved away from it,
You're
and
just
I'm
not
back to my
worthy
foes.
to
Yeah, I'm
wield
clear.
the hammer.
Yeah,
I'm not
clearly
worthy of
worthy.
Asgard. That is a great point. But I've moved back to foes because Norman Osborn is very happy to have me, and
That's scary.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
and suddenly I go back to foes and I'm winning games again, and I'm still tweaking the foes always, and I'm feeling pretty happy about it right now. I got a win over Malekith the other day with my foes, Ryan. That was us.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm very high on the foes right now. What can I say? So I'm kind of back home. I'm doing my thing again. There's so much time before season 9, so who knows where we'll land. But yeah, no. And then there was the tournament. I ran a tournament, and Ryan, you played in it. Ben, you couldn't make it, but I'll just pass the baton over
Sure.
to you, Ryan.
Sure. I will take the talking baton. Yeah, so I guess we can just start with the tournament. Yeah, I went to said tournament. I went 1-3. I did
1 and
have
2. There's only 3
all right,
rounds.
yeah, 1-2. 1-2. Um the I only wound up running Malekith once in that tournament, and it was round 1, and it was against the Asgard affiliation. Um and let me tell you, Asgard, I like him in the Malekith. I like him a lot. My opponent had taken Thor, Angie, Loki, and Heimdall, oddly enough. And really what made the difference in that matchup was the fact that he had taken, of course, Recalibration Matrix and Odin's Blessing.
Yep.
So there were 2 times in which Malekith should have one-shotted Thor in that matchup, and both times he played either Recalibration Matrix or he played Odin's Blessing, and effectively just made Malekith a whiff, essentially. So unfortunately, I took an L in that game. The next game after that, we played. I think it was just 2 C shapes, or no, it was
Gamma.
Skrulls and Gamma.
Yep, Skrulls and Gamma.
My opponent found the Skrull, turn 1 with Domino, so I was like, okay, it's gonna be one of those. But I had taken. For this tournament, I was running Sam Avengers plus Malekith. So I think I had taken Hulk, Sam, obviously, Iron Man. I had taken in all of my games that day. Honestly, just for
Voodoo?
the, yeah, I think in that game I took Voodoo.
Yeah.
Or no, I don't think I took Voodoo because we were playing on 15. I believe I took Hood.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I think it was
wrong
Sam.
Mystic guy.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Hood was there just to hold a backfield objective, and then
And what did you
have.
play against?
I played against X-Force.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I really wanted to run Venom this tournament, and I don't think I ever got the chance. And I wanted to run him in that matchup, but I obviously don't feel comfortable running Venom into X-Force, which of course has Cable with like his plasma rifle or whatever it's called.
Yeah, range 5
Yeah, range
energy
5
as well.
energy. Venom does not like that. But yeah, Hulk basically stuck around for like 2 turns, I think, 2 or 3 turns. I know that Hood's heal using black arts or dark arts or whatever enabled him to stay around for a turn longer than he should have. And basically, I was able to. It was close up until turn 3. But due to a misplay on my opponent's part regarding, I think he had forgotten that if you're on Gamma, if your opponent is holding your like home objective, basically, you score, or they're going to score 3 points off that. It's for a pretty big point swing. So I believe he had just forgotten about that turn, and then the next turn when he did move a Sabretooth back onto that point in order to contest it, I had enough power across my team to just play Helios Laser Bombardment on Iron Man's activation and essentially just nuke that character to give me an insurmountable lead going into turn 4, I think it was, at which point my opponent conceded. It was a good game, and I'm happy about how close it was. He was able to take out Hulk, which was pretty scary at that point, but
Yeah,
I was
usually
able
at
to
15.
pick it up.
Yeah, at 15, if you lose Hulk, that's a pretty scary.
Yeah. The Helios Laser Bombardment, I am so high on that card right now, and I am very happy that I bought the Hulkbuster box just to have that specific card. Have not even built the Hulkbuster yet.
So
I'm
take that
shameless.
card.
So what you're saying is you bought the Helios laser card, or
Yeah.
the Helios laser box.
Yeah.
That comes with a free Hulkbuster.
Yeah, it comes with a free Hulk. Look at that. It's called value. It's called value.
Yeah. The final round of that tournament for me, I played against Malekith Cabal. And in this matchup, I think I went with Iron Man, Sam. It was Gamma, and then it was what's the books? Montesi. Yeah. So we played Montesi and Gamma. My opponent took Malekith,
I think it's Zemo,
Valkyrie, Zemo, Bullseye. I think there was another. That might have been it. I can't remember if there was another one in there. And then
you guys played 15. Yeah, 15. So that sounds
probably. Yeah, I wanted to play on 15 because I was like, okay, he has Malekith. I want to mess with his list building as much as I can. I felt comfortable running Hulk, Hood.
Was it the same list?
I think I took the same list. Yeah, Hulk, Hood, Sam, and Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I took the same list because I felt comfortable coming off the win with that. Pretty much what wound up costing me the game was Hulk was able to just take center of the board control and just pound on my opponent's characters turns 1 and 2. Turn 2, I think I had priority, and I dazed Malekith. I had also dazed a couple of his other characters too. Sam's shield throw like popped off as it usually does for me, and I think I dazed Valkyrie with him.
You had a huge lead going into turn 3.
Yes,
like
in fact, turn 2, I believe it was. I scored 10 points and my opponent scored 0. Yes, so that makes what happened after that much more painful. So towards the end of that turn, I had misjudged the distance that Iron Man was from the center objective. My opponent had moved his Baron Zemo up onto the center objective, and Hulk was there. And I forgot that Iron Man was also on the objective. And so, like a fool, I decided, okay, I'm going to take the center objective, and I'm going to score the 10 points that I did wind up scoring. What I did was I used Helios Laser Bombardment on Baron Zemo. And like I said, I have 2 live characters. On that point, there was no reason for me. Baron Zemo had already activated. There was no reason for me to make this play. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go up on points. I'm going to have a huge lead. Cool. That's what you want to do against Malekith anyway, right? So I do that. Next turn, Malekith obviously comes back from being dazed. So do all of his other characters. I actually dazed every single one of my opponent's characters turn 2.
It was like a dream.
And then the exact inverse happened to me turn 3. He dazed all of my characters. He killed my Hulk, and he scored the max 10 points. At which point he's up a Malekith. I'm down a Helios Laser Bombardment and a Hulk. the writing's on the wall.
Mm.
So unfortunate, but definitely a lesson learned. Don't drop Helios laser bombardment on anybody but Malekith if Malekith is still not KO'd, basically. But yeah, so that's how the tournament went. Outside of that, I've been running and participating in a Marvel Crisis Protocol League, being held at one of the local stores here in Rochester, Millennium Games, and I played my game for week 2 against A-Force. My opponent in that game took Okoye, She-Hulk, obviously, Captain Marvel, Domino, and no, Black Widow. That was it. I took Sam Avengers, but I didn't try and run like that mean of like a competitive list. So I did take Sam, but I took Iron Man, War Machine, Captain Marvel, and Venom. Cool thing about running War Machine and Captain Marvel is that they have this card called Air Force, and basically what it is it's like a follow me between the two of them, and it only costs like 3 power, I think. So I played that with follow me with Helios laser. So it was with like that kind of thing going on, it's like I could pretty much just like choose to have priority whenever I wanted. And the really funny play happened with the Helios laser bombardment once again. Venom had kind of taken the center of the board. I think we played Spider Infected, and then it was another C shape, I think, that we played on, or it wasn't a C shape. It was going horizontal instead of vertical. I forget the name of that type of deployment setup. E shape, yeah. It was like whatever the portals, not spider portals, like the other portals one.
Intrusions.
Probably, yeah.
The one you can go through the portals.
Yes. Yep. That's it.
Yep.
So that was the mission we were playing on. Venom had moved onto the center, and I think I had web-lined or web-snagged Captain Marvel close to Venom. Everybody else was just kind of like gravitating towards the center of the board at this point. And I have enough power to use the Helios laser bombardment and like confidently delete a character, even one such as Captain Marvel, who, wants to be hit by energy attacks natively. So I did that, and my opponent goes, "Okay, I'm going to bodyguard with Okoye." And I went, "What?" And he said, "Yep." And so I was like, "Okay."
Just brutal.
Yeah, so that's 12 power to delete an Okoye, which was Okoye had already been dazed earlier in the game. So it's like, okay, at least I get to kill a character. So I didn't feel that bad about it. And there were wild triggers on the roll, of course, so I was able to do some splash damage to like 3 other characters on his roster, I think.
I bet you she was super dead though, right? Like,
oh yeah, Okoye was gone.
Reduced to atoms.
Gone. Reduced to atoms. Yeah, so that was fun. And then I had a really tactical moment going on with the with Follow Me. I had activated War Machine, and Captain Marvel was on like kind of like the right side objective, like if you're looking at the board from my perspective, and definitely well within the threat range of She-Hulk. And so what I did was I went with War Machine, activated him. He just wound up doing like his builder into somebody. And then we had I played the Air Force, and what I did here, Shane, was I moved Captain Marvel closer towards the center, just so that she is just within range 3 of Venom. And of course, I'm taking Venom. I'm taking Lethal Protector. So I do that. He activates with She-Hulk. She-Hulk does her thing. There's like a size 4 terrain feature in between She-Hulk and my Captain Marvel, which wound up getting removed. Um, I believe She-Hulk threw it at somebody. I don't remember who. I think it was Captain Marvel that she threw it at, but Captain Marvel was able to tank it. But was down to 3 stamina remaining, and so he goes, okay. So he spends a bunch of power to like buff whatever She-Hulk's like attack is. Um, and that's when I play Lethal Protector, and then I just had Venom tank all those, and he wound up surviving and then being able to inflict damage onto her. And yeah, from that point on in the game, saving Captain Marvel in that way was pretty clutch. And then I believe Captain Marvel wound up activating later on in that turn and like throwing She-Hulk into a car like across the table. And at that point the game was pretty much wrapped up, and I wound up getting the win there. So that was fun.
So I mean, you've been loving Captain Marvel, Ryan.
I've loved Captain Marvel from day one. Yeah.
I forget, was she in your roster at the tournament?
I think she was. I feel like she must have been.
Because I don't know. I mean, I know you took in the moments where you had
she must
fourth
have
threat,
been.
you would take Voodoo. So it's like you can't.
Yeah,
really take
I
Marvel
did
or
wind
Voodoo,
up
but
taking Voodoo in that 4 threat slot because it's like,
how do you not?
yeah, he's just so good. He's so
He's so
good.
good.
I have no clue why this dude. He's a medium mover on a medium base, right?
His flight, right? Does he does have flight, right?
Yeah, I
does
believe
have flight.
I believe he has flight. He's got 6 stamina for whatever reason. He can buff his defense like across the board pretty much up to 6 with his brother Daniel token if he recalls it or just has it on him. He can make one of my opponent's characters drop and be unable to interact with any sort of like objectives or tokens.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a
how
weird
do I
thing.
not? It's like, how do I not take this character?
And I feel that because it is a thing where it's like on my foes roster that I'm constantly grappling with, where I need a character for, first of all, I need a character for the single extracts. Voodoo's great for that. I need a character that is not terrible against energy attacks, and Voodoo fits that.
Yep.
Like a 4 threat character specifically. And I need a 4 threat in general, other than the symbiotes, because the symbiotes are very matchup heavy.
Yeah.
So I did have Voodoo on my season 8 roster for the first 3 weeks, and I played him once or twice, but he was great, of course.
Yeah.
And then I took him off. But that's the thing I've been struggling with, because I need to like with the roster building process for my foes right now. I feel like it's just sitting there. Like Voodoo answers all the questions
Yeah.
that my roster is asking for. But I just don't want to do it. At least
Yeah.
for you, he's Avengers affiliated.
Yes.
So it's like
yeah,
it's
everyone's
an
favorite
affiliate.
Avenger, Voodoo.
Yeah. So like when you're playing a non-Avenger, like a non-Voodoo affiliation, and you have all the options in the world for a
Yeah.
4 threat splash. I could play Voodoo and just feel like, and not that there's anything wrong with playing Voodoo or splashing Voodoo, because that is the right thing to do a lot of the time, right? But I
No, it's not.
it is like against my nature. I just need to do something different. And I think it almost is like a harmful thing for me as a player, where I feel like I feel this need to do something different. Like, which is like at the core why I think I love Spider Foes so much. Like, yes, I was drawn to them before I knew what was good or what was bad,
Mhm.
but they're not, there's not like these clear, obvious right choices.
Except for
And Voodoo is
Voodoo.
Voodoo's just sitting there with this flash, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here, take
Yep.
me."
Yep.
And it's just, I don't want you,
I feel
Voodoo.
the same way about Juggernaut, because I really don't
Ah,
have a
me
good
too.
5 threat in my collection, and it's like, all right, Juggernaut, I guess, just fits the bill for everything. So yeah, sure, we'll throw him in there.
Yeah, like Voodoo and Juggernaut are just sitting on the sidelines waiting for me to call them in. They know that they're Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
They know how good they are.
they know that
They're
they
like,
know
"Come
their
on,
worth.
coach,
They're
put
out.
me in."
Yeah, Juggernaut
Yeah.
and Voodoo are like the the Lamar Jacksons of Marvel Crisis Protocol. They're out there playing for a contract right now.
Meanwhile, I am over here. I'd rather start Derek Carr just to be cool.
You're not gonna say Jimmy G? Come on.
No, I even the greatest Niner fan does not want to start Jimmy G.
No, I think I mean, we've talked about this, and I think one of the things for roster construction, and maybe that we spend more time intentionally in an episode talking about this. Of like, there's something to say when we just go, you know what, I want to make it. I want the roster to make sense. Like, I joke around with Mono Brotherhood, but I really prefer to have as much in the roster that just makes sense. That's more fun.
Thematically, like narratively, I get that.
Yeah, and it that's more fun for me. Like yeah, should I put Voodoo in my Brotherhood roster? Yes, because he is just silly good, right? Am I going to? No, because I claim the moral high ground all above you plebs. So no, it's one of those things. That was a choice that I made a long time ago. Is
for sure.
Now I will say I'm running Juggernaut.
But he's affiliated.
He's affiliated.
You get to.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my.
You can't not.
Privilege. Right.
And I will say, I get where you're coming from. Where I'm coming from is a little different. Because there's a few different like mind states, right? There's the super hyper competitive, which is I think like Lucas, who was just in the finals of season 8. He is in the hyper competitive mindset where he will take whatever he thinks is the best, and that is super valid. I wish I could do that myself. I just can't bring myself to do it. He does it, and he's a winner, and he's going to keep being a winner as long as he keeps doing that. There's what you are describing, which is like. You like creating a list that is thematic and narrative for you, like it fits the narrative for you, and you like to optimize it and play it as best as you can. And I am closer to that than I am the other option that I described. For me, it's like a somewhere in between where I'm okay with deviating from like the thematic sense, but I need and Ryan, Beerned. This is something that Beerned said, and he's a Kill Team content creator for all the MCP people. He said something to me once that it just like it like stuck exactly. It like narrowed right down on exactly how I feel about list building, and it's like the certain competitive player that wants to win, but they also want to insert identity into their roster. And I remember when I saw him say that, and I was like, that is it. That is exactly how I feel. I like to, I'm a definitely competitive player. I'm willing to take the things that I feel are the strongest, but I feel like there needs to be a level of identity in my roster to me. And with my foes right now, I really feel that. And I feel like I really capture that. And whether or not I win a tournament, I'm going to go to every tournament that I go to hoping to win. And I'm going to try as hard as I can to win. But I can't bring myself to do anything that like feels like it's not mine. Like I can never net list. And there's nothing wrong with net listing, but I just could never do it. And we're going super off script and stuff, but I think this is a really good conversation to have.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been my like philosophy on list building. And I think everybody has their own approach to it, but that's just how I feel. And it's a really interesting like dichotomy, I feel.
Yeah, my philosophy regarding list building in this game has basically been, okay, I have Venom. What can I splash him in? And
there you go.
I have the core box comes with a healthy roster of Avengers. Okay, I'm gonna splash Venom into these Avengers, and then we'll just go from there.
For sure.
Venom is the mainstay of the list. He's the real leader. He's the real heart and soul.
Even if he's not
Avengers.
on the team, even if you're not playing him, he's sitting on the sidelines. He's like, he's like Bill Belichick over there. He's calling all the plays. We're gonna do all the football references right now.
I was gonna say he's more like a Ryan Fitzpatrick type guy. He's a true journeyman. Like, yeah, he belongs in Spider Foes, but he also belongs in Web Warriors. He's playing both sides. He's been around, you know, and he
This
fits
is
in
a
and he fits in well
shockingly
with a
good.
lot of places. Yeah.
This is a
Also,
shockingly good
coincidentally,
metaphor.
Eddie Brock is well known for his hatred of Tom Brady. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
Wow.
did
yeah,
not. I did not know
yeah.
that.
I may or may not be
Wow.
making this up, but
Oh,
Well, anyway,
hey, we believe you. You sold us. We believe you.
so okay. Anyway, you said the word splash earlier, Ryan.
oh,
Oh,
Speaking of splash,
what's that I
bam!
hear?
I think we have a segment.
It's time for everybody's favorite Splash Mountain. So if you have been listening, you already know what's coming.
Oh yeah.
Dread it, run from it. It still arrives. I don't know if I
Splash
got the
Mountain is
quote.
inevitable.
Yeah, Splash Mountain's inevitable. So I have a list here of every single character barring Dormammu, and I think
We got to get rid of Ursa, and who did we do last week?
we did oh my god, I
I
forgot
don't
already.
remember.
I don't know.
Oh, it was the dog.
Oh,
Lockjaw.
Lockjaw.
Yeah, let me take out
Yep.
Lockjaw real
Get Lockjaw
fast.
out of there.
And then we do need to put in the Sentinels
Oh, good point.
because we
Oh,
did
yeah,
not
and-
have them in the list last
And we
time.
have the Shield guys and the Hydra guys, right?
I
Baron
believe
Strucker,
so. Yeah, I've got
Arnim Zola. There's a lot of Barons.
yes, I have
so-
Baron Strucker in here.
Arnim
um,
Zola. Yeah.
I think so.
This is-
Yes. Okay. Sorry, this is a very long build up to Splash Mountain. So I think we're all set. I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel now.
I'm waiting with bated breath. So
All right, here it comes. And this week we're okay. Oh God, no. Okay. Oh, it was almost Cyclops for a second. So
I wish.
so Shane, you might have the same reaction. If it were Cyclops, it's Daredevil. Basic
Oh
Daredevil.
my goodness.
It's your boy. It's
The
your boy.
Daredevil, not the Shadowland, but
The
the Daredevil, the
Daredevil, yep,
original.
yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Daredevil.
Guys,
Yeah.
we may have pulled the worst character in the game. This is what Splash Mountain is all about, right? This is
Just
what it's
living
all about.
Just
Yep.
living the dream. How
Oh
do we
my
make
goodness.
Daredevil good?
Well, I want to go last. So
You want to go
Oh.
last? Okay. I'm gonna
Let's-
go. I think I'm gonna go first. Give me a minute or two to just look at the card here. Like I don't want to splash him into anything, but if I had to splash him into anything, I think I have an idea.
You splash him on the bench is where you put him.
Yeah, splash him right on the bench. I'll put him right there next to Jacoby Brissett and Teddy Bridgewater. God. All right.
Shots.
So I just wish that we had seen Tua just sit a little longer. All right. So Daredevil, I'm going to splash Daredevil into Sam Avengers because hey, you get rewarded when your characters get KO'd. And this character is not worth like saving with like a lethal protector or a sacrifice.
Just in the ground.
Yeah.
Wow, this is brutal. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
In the gr-
I mean, hey, like I don't know. So like he does have like the baton hook, which I think is it's pretty cool. You know, you can push size 2 or less small, or excuse me, short. So I mean, you can get some more pushes along with Sam's shield throw. So there's like some room for displacement there. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I got. That's my justification. If you have them, and you have Avengers, and you just have a threat level 4 size hole in your roster, and you don't have a good character, throw Daredevil in there, I guess.
if you don't have
If
any
you have
other
no
models,
other option.
If you have literally no other options, if you don't even have the core box, so you can't put in
Marvel, Captain Marvel,
Steve,
anybody.
Steve, Captain Marvel, Voodoo, you
I
got
feel like
Daredevil
we're-
for some reason, throw Daredevil. Yeah.
I feel like we're at this point where it's like if you have like we're putting Daredevil in list because we got a gun to our head. Like
No, that's
just
that's literally what this is because like if he was a 3
Oh, he
on
would
it,
be so good. He'd be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
It
I
would
mean,
fix all the problems. He wouldn't even be the
it
best
would.
3, that's the funny part. He
yes,
you could make him a
yeah.
3,
Like
and he
Sam is
wouldn't be
a
the
clearly better 3 by far
I
and
don't know
away.
about that.
Oh,
I don't know
Daredevil,
about that.
Daredevil is a long mover too. I'm just now
He counts
noticing this,
points.
so that's cool.
You know, he's probably not like, I don't know, X-23 Zemo are maybe better,
Yeah,
but, like, that's at least close. Whereas you can compare him to almost any 4 threat, and it's just like a joke.
yeah. It's not.
So,
They're not even in the same. Not even in the same threat level. Is what they
okay,
should.
Ben, go ahead.
So I'm gonna get scandalous.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna get scandalous. You know
Uh-oh.
where I want you know where I want to put Daredevil? I
Don't.
want to put Daredevil in Spider Foes.
Okay.
Oh
I want him
jeez.
in I want him in Spider Foes because you know what Daredevil needs? You know what he needs? He needs a little damage consistency. That's what he needs. He's the
Hmm.
man without fear, and he just want to bonk you on the head, And his range four dice, not even builder or anything is great. You just want to get that dice consistency. Um, no, it's something. Look, we're all kind of joking around, but like Daredevil's just this is it's hard to find him in a home. Um, I think I like him. I like him in Spider Foes. There may be some goofy stuff that you could do. I actually saw him. One of my buddies, Tim from the Professional Casual Network, ran him in his Power Bottom 10 list, which was also
Can you tell us what that is for the uninitiated?
yes, sorry, the Power Bottom 10. Every TTS seasonally, there is a statistical list that goes out of every single character. What's the percentage? How many times they're being taken? Not just for the characters, but also for the tactic cards and also for the crisis cards. And so my buddy Tim took the bottom 10 characters, regardless of affiliation or whatever they were, and threw them in a list and said, "That's what I'm taking. Let's do this." And he went
He
3
did
and 2.
quite didn't he go I thought he went 4 and 2.
No, I think
There's
did he
6
go 4 and
rounds,
That's
so
2?
pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Did he go 4 and 2? I don't know. He might have gone 4 and 2. Uh, Regardless, I saw this man when Daredevil was in X Force. Uh, and I saw this man do a Devil's Deliverance, a 10 dice Devil's Deliverance on 4 different people. Who knew that throwing 40 dice is actually pretty good?
yeah,
um,
yeah.
so that was pretty funny. So yeah, that was neat. So maybe the answer is actually X Force. I don't know. I have run Daredevil like twice since I've bought that model.
I'll take him from you. I'll
Look,
take him right off your hands. Because
I
you know what? It's my turn, right?
boom,
And
hit us with the
I
truth.
have an answer that is not wishy-washy, that is not gun to my head because I have thought about this.
I know you
Because
have, because Daredevil's your
He's,
favorite character.
yeah,
I
he's your
love it.
boy. He's your boy.
When I grew up reading comics, because my first introduction to comics was my dad had a bunch of comics, like a big box of just a ton of comics from like the 80s and 70s. And the ones I gravitated, like there was Avengers and Captain America and Spider-Man, and the one I gravitated to the most was Daredevil. And I really loved the Daredevil stories, and to this day I don't read the comics as much. I kind of want to, but I kind of follow along with what's happening with Daredevil. I just love the character. I really loved the Netflix show, and I'm really excited for the Disney Plus show. I love Daredevil. So, with that being said, I've thought about it. I've looked at this data card over and over again, and man, it's more sad every time I look at it. But and I think I ran this once against you, Ben. I think Daredevil, if you had to run him, if you really wanted to splash him, I would say try Daredevil and Shield because there's one thing about his kit that stuck out to me for Shield. Um, and that is his on his healthy side, he has the Man Without Fear 2 power ability. So I'll read it because you definitely don't know what it does because nobody plays
Nobody does.
Daredevil. It's a 2 power reactive ability. After an attack targeting this character is resolved, this character may use this superpower. If the attacker is within range 2, this character may make a strike attack targeting it. So, if you have the shield leadership and you are, first of all, this kind of plays into what you said, Ryan, where if your characters are dying, you're benefiting off the leadership. So, if you're playing shield and you're winning, then say somebody hits you, you get to use the shield leadership to make basically a short move towards the attacker. If somebody hits Daredevil and they do damage to him, he can spend a power, move towards them, ideally within range 2, and do Man Without Fear to strike them. So there's actually like a reactive synergy there on Daredevil. Alternatively, if you're losing and somebody kills Daredevil, because of course they will, he has 5 health, he's a 4 threat, then you get a victory point because that's how Shield works. If you're losing and one of your characters dazes or KOs, you get a victory point. So that is my thought on Daredevil. And also, if you're using the part of the Shield leadership where you get to move forward after you get hit, you're getting closer to the action. And if you're playing on like a narrow shape, like Gamma or something, everybody's going to be bunched up. You're getting closer to them. Maybe you get dazed, but you're getting closer to that big, awesome Devil's Deliverance play that is only dreamed about.
The much lauded Devil's Deliverance.
Yeah.
Because I did it against you, Ben, remember? And I think I got 8 dice. I don't know if I got 10, but I got an 8 dice Devil's Deliverance against like 3 or 4 characters. 3, I think it was 3, right? Must have been.
I don't remember. I must have blacked out from the just amazingness of Daredevil. I keep talking. You might smack it back into my memory.
Yeah.
Because I was within range 2 of 3 of your characters. I was playing Shield, so this actually checks out. And I think you're playing Winter Guard. This was during your Winter Guard, your brutality. So it makes sense that you blacked out.
Yeah, it's when I hated myself.
Yeah. And I think I dazed like multiple characters with Devil's Deliverance. I got the 8 dice one, so I'm hitting 3 characters. That happens, and I daze a bunch of guys, and the next turn Daredevil dies because you have Prio, and he's dead forever. But on his injured side, he does have Devil of Hell's Kitchen, which is a pretty cool ability. It's worse than it needs to be, of course, because this is Daredevil we're talking about. Seriously though, he's a 4 threat. His defense is 3-3-3. This is supposed to be made up by the fact that he counts blanks.
Yeah, he's blind. You don't want to hit a blind man.
You know who counts blanks as well?
Yeah.
Who's a 4 threat? Is Shadowland Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what his defensive profile is? It's 4-3-3. And then on his injured side, it's 3-3-4. And you know what? On his healthy side, Shadowland Daredevil has 6 health to regular Daredevil's 5. And on his injured side, Shadowland Daredevil has 7 health to regular Daredevil 6. And also his baton hook for Shadowland Daredevil lets him move after he does it towards the attacker or towards the character he attacked. And also Shadowland Daredevil has stealth for no reason. The only downside is he has medium movement.
Stealth.
Yeah, he has medium movement instead of long. Everything about Shadowland Daredevil is like what I want regular Daredevil to be. And guys, we've gone on a tangent.
It's this Wii stuff. Yeah.
I know, right? Yes. Yeah. Ryan are over here just chilling right now.
Yeah, it's like the X-Men players complain about the whole affiliation, even though they're good. I have one character to complain about, and it's my favorite character. And come on, like really, look at this date. Like look at this card. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
It's so horrible. But okay, if you need to play him anywhere, Shield, I mean, give it a try. There's better options, obviously, because this is Daredevil. But if you love Daredevil like I do, I think he's okay in Shield. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say.
Or, and hear me out, alternative, you paint him up real nice, maybe get him commission painted, and you just bring him and he just hangs out as a nice terrain feature or something like that. And he just
Or you just
Terrain feature.
you can just paint a terrain feature. Jeez.
Oh
yeah,
man, it is a cool model. It's a
it's
cool
a,
model.
it is a cool model, but you know,
Just paint up Shadowland Daredevil as regular Daredevil.
That's I've legitimately thought about that.
Yeah.
You say that I've thought about that because, but it's like he's the leader of a bunch of criminals.
a bunch of criminals.
I can't even like rationale that in my mind.
He's demon possessed. He's a bad.
And
I know.
yeah, I read Shadowland Daredevil, like what is it called? I don't remember what the name. I think it's just called Shadowland, the comic run.
Yeah, it's the
Probably.
Because that's when I was reading comics last. Was when Shadowland happened, and when he killed Bullseye.
Spoilers.
And it, yeah, sorry guys. It only happened 8 years ago. But I don't know. It's just not the I can't bring. I don't know. It's half the reason I want to play Shadowland Daredevil is because it's Daredevil. But he's got the black suit and stuff, and the black suit's cool, right? But you know, red suit Daredevil that's what it's all
He's
about,
cool
right?
too, yeah.
Anyway, I conclude this with saying try him out in Shield. I think there's some synergy there. Man, I thought it would take longer for us to hit the worst character, but
I mean, Colossus is still on here, so.
How dare you? How I will.
I think Daredevil's worse than Colossus, personally.
No, he probably is. He probably is. All right, so
we'll go down 2 tangents if we talk about Colossus.
yeah,
let's move on.
Let's move on to the
I've wasted enough
the
time.
next topic here. Jeez, how far are we in? Yeah, we're almost an hour in, and I don't even think we're halfway through our little itinerary here.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So I get news and notes. The Weapon X affiliation has been confirmed after the new the Weapon X like project or bunker, whatever that box is, coming
the Logan
out.
Sabretooth
Yeah,
box.
it's got Logan. It's got the new Sabretooth, right? It looks cool. That's all I know about it personally. I have not taken a look at anything else other than knowing that it's been announced and that the Weapon X affiliation is now a thing. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, Ben, you go first. I'm done talking for a minute.
No, I love it. I am super excited for the Weapon X affiliation. There's going to be a lot of really neat possibilities. Omega Red, Deadpool, X-23, Honey Badger, Wolverine, probably both Wolverines, both Sabretooths. You know, there's a lot that they can do with it, which I think is pretty exciting. You know, my curiosity is it just going to be a better X-Force? And then every X-Force player.
Well, I mean, that's not very hard, right?
Well, right. Then just every X-Force player is just like, oh, all right, I'm sad. I'm excited. I'm one of the few Brotherhood players who actually takes Sabretooth, so I'm excited for the potential for another Sabretooth. I'm hoping for a terrain throw. Just give me a terrain throw Sabretooth and you can join the team. But it's exciting. The models look great, and you get a motorcycle part of the terrain kit. The one thing I'm not super excited about is it kind of this is kind of the only box where it feels a little bit more pricey than it probably should be, because we had the other Rivals box that was Spider-Man and Doc Ock. And they were very upfront about it. It was the same exact cards from the core box. You are if you have the core box, you already have these cards. They did make them, you know, fancy and foil, and they did look cool. But it's just
like $100, right?
Yeah, it was like $100. And I think this one is going to be in the same price range, if I'm remembering correctly. But these are going to be brand new cards. It's going to be a brand new Wolverine, brand new Sabretooth, which is exciting and also a little bit frustrating because you have to get, this big box to get these characters. So that's the only thing that I'm not super pleased with. I hope they reveal the cards to give people the opportunity to see if they even want to get the box. Now I'm going to tell you right away, I'm going to get the box regardless because I have a problem. So
Yeah. Is there anything
um,
you don't own, actually?
there's several things I own several of. So
Oh. Oh,
uh,
so that
yeah.
was the complete and utter opposite answer to Shane's question, but I think you answered the
It's
question
still answered.
regardless. Yeah.
Yes.
My God.
I also have several Etsy models of
Well, you have
characters.
to.
I have three
At that
Magnetos.
point, you might as
I,
well.
I have three Magnetos. I'm seriously debating about getting a fourth.
So if I ever need to play Brotherhood, I know who to ask because
Yes,
you have no shortage.
I have no
Um,
shortage of Magnetos.
Yeah.
can I just say one thing though
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
the Logan Sabretooth box?
Mm.
And this is something that is not getting brought up a lot. So obviously they've announced that there's going to be a Weapon X affiliation. Presumably, I mean not even presumably, these are the first two characters that were designed with that affiliation in mind, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Probably one of them is going to be the leader. I don't know
I
how
got
they plan to do that, but
Sabretooth led the team a bunch in the comics.
so the problem I have with this is, like you said, it's $100.
Yeah,
If
that's
somebody wants
steep.
to play Weapon X, they have to buy a $100 box. And for Marvel Crisis Protocol, that's pretty brutal, right?
Yes, yeah.
Compared
Like
to
if I
other
want to play,
affiliations for sure.
yeah, like if I want to play like Spider Foes, I can get the core. Like if assuming I already have the core box and I want to play Spider Foes, I can just get Goblin in like any of the two character Spider-Foe boxes, and that's cheaper than this one box.
Yep.
So that's a bummer to me for anybody that wants to play Weapon X, and I think because of that, we're going to see the Weapon X affiliation is going to be very not super popular at tournaments and competitive play, even if it's pretty good. Um,
I
and
think
that's
if
kind of a bummer.
it's like if the faction or the affiliation turns out to be like very good competitively, then like in IRL tournaments, I would definitely like expect to come up against this sort of thing, but if it's not, I don't expect to see much of it due to the price point.
And then there's the other half of this news, which is that Logan is confirmed to be not X-Men affiliated, which is this shouldn't even be news, if I'm being honest. But
No.
people are in an uproar about this.
Yeah, I had the same thought, Shane, because this is Logan. This is not Wolverine we're talking about here. This is Logan. He's out. He's out on his own. He's doing his own thing. He's not affiliated with the X-Men. So, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
people are just salty that the Wolverine in X-Men is not very good.
He's
So
kind of poo poo.
And I get it.
he's kind of absolute garbage. I understand.
I totally get it. As a Daredevil lover, I get the feel.
Yeah.
Also, Wolverine is way better than Daredevil. So, I mean,
Not wrong.
come on, guys. But like, I totally get the frustration, but thematically, you
This makes
can't say that.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say that it doesn't make sense.
All I'm saying is if he is not called Wolverine somewhere in his card, I'm gonna lose my mind because I want to fastball special him.
Oh man,
I'm just gonna.
Colossus Wolverine fastball special.
I just need to fastball special a good Wolverine is what I would like, because then people won't yell at me for taking Colossus and all.
Man, that card is so good though. It's a shame that it's attached to those two characters.
they're they're pretty bad.
In a vacuum, that is such a good card.
Yeah. No, I think it's like I said, and you guys are both bringing up really valid points that it is a shame that this kind of feels like the first price wall that we're hitting with MCP. Um, and I really do think that in IRL, unless these guys are absolute bonkers, you're not going to see them a whole bunch in real life tournaments. That sucks because weapon.
There's definitely a barrier to
Yeah.
entry.
Yeah. Which
And
is
that's like
Yeah, just
you
2
can get
characters and a piece of terrain for $100 is that's
yeah, I
tall.
mean, if you look at the rival panel, nobody really you don't see that terrain piece used often
I've
from
never
the
seen.
from
I've
the
I've
Doc Ock
never
Spider-Man.
seen anybody use it.
Yeah.
It looks cool, on a like when you set it up for like a picture,
Yeah,
but
it's more of a display
practically,
piece, yeah.
yeah.
Because it's like
And
I'm
I
looking at it and it's like they're supposed to be like in a skyscraper, it looks like. So having that like on the ground floor somewhere, it doesn't make that much sense to me.
yeah, and like I say this, I've been thinking about buying the Doc Ock Spider-Man rival panel,
Hmm.
and because I want that Doc Ock model, I don't want the basic guy from the
What do
core
you mean?
box.
You don't want the Chad arms crossed Doc Ock
No.
smug grin?
No, and if it was that Doc versus Amazing Spider-Man, which I always forget that it's not Amazing Spider-Man because that model is so cool.
It's
I
amazing.
just assume it's Amazing Spider-Man when I look at the box, but it's not. It's core box Spider-Man versus core box Doc Ock, and the Doc model is so good. It's so good. But that's all I want out of that box. I don't want the core box Spider-Man. I don't want the terrain. I'm not going to spend that much money on this just the one guy. So I don't know. It's kind of brutal. Um, and at least maybe we don't know yet, but Logan and Sabretooth are going to be good. Maybe. And then at
Yeah.
that point it's less of a choice because the models look great. Comes with a cool motorcycle, comes with a
Yeah.
train piece.
Yep.
Guys, you don't want a
So
motorcycle? Come on.
if it's good, you know, um, that'll be cool. I hope it's good for the meta. It's always cool to see more strong things coming in as long as they're not broken. I can't imagine one of these two things is going to be Malekith, but
Yeah.
I can,
uh,
but
I can't.
but that's because I have a very active imagination.
that would be wild. That would be absolutely crazy. But no, I mean, it's going to be a cool release either way, right?
Mhm.
So I don't have anything else to say about it.
Okay. Let's move on now to I guess taking a look at the season 8 finals because finals wrapped up.
Just like an hour ago, right?
Yeah.
We are recording directly after Lucas versus Magic Nick. So if you're listening to this, you probably already know who won. If you don't, I'm going to tell you right now. Magic Nick and the Avengers took it. And we have another instance of. Oh, okay, actually, hold on. Let me rewind because I almost said we have another instance of Sam Avengers beating Malekith in a finals. But Magic Nick has been playing Steve Avengers, and that is what he played in the finals.
Oh.
And granted, the finals was Legacy Virus, so of course Steve, and it was the Ben. You also watched it with me.
Yes.
Um, it was Legacy Virus, which is the if any crisis should be banned, it should be that.
Yes.
But it was Steve Avengers, so it was Steve, Voodoo, Toad, Black Cat, and Hulk. So literally, it's like you take all the meta characters and then you throw Steve there.
Throw
And then
Steve.
on the other side, it was Malekith Cabal from Lucas. He was running Malekith, Mystique, and Baron Zemo and Hulk. So this is like the most disgusting control team you can imagine playing against the most disgusting attrition team you can imagine. So it was like the ultimate meta showdown, right? Magic Nick took it, which is, I mean, you have to imagine everybody going into it expected that if it was going to be Legacy Virus, Magic Nick was going to win because we saw what happened in the game against Sooner. That being said, it was a pretty close, crazy tight game, and I think Lucas played really well. But Nick just had like it was just like the perfect team for the current meta, and he played it very, very well, and I'm really impressed with both players. It was one of the more exciting finals that we've seen. I'm gonna pass it over to you, Ben, because you also watched it, and if you have any thoughts, just, throw them out there 'cause,
Yeah.
I've been talking for a while, so there you go.
No, no, yeah, you alluded to it. So this is again just another instance of we're seeing um, Malekith Cabal and Avengers in the finals. So, um, we're seeing a bunch of that, and I think it's kind of indicative of where the meta is right now. Um, and I'll tell you what, I really going into it, even with Legacy getting pulled. Uh, One of the things that everyone in the chat was being mindful of was your one wrong move and a deception play away from losing the game if you're Magic Nick. Um, that's how good and how dangerous Malekith with Mystique deception is you're just one wrong move if you just don't measure range 2 correctly, and it's over. It's really scary. And one thing that I will give a lot of credit where credit's due is um, Magic Nick played around deception perfectly the entire game. Um,
Yeah, he did play very well.
yeah, I just it's one of those neat things when you see two high caliber players playing at the top of their game. I was very, very impressed. Like I said, I normally, someone sometimes in those, high tension games, it's easy to kind of overthink things and make a big mistake. We saw a really high caliber finals game that was in all of the seasons so far the closest game, the closest finals game. We've had a lot of blowouts in finals, um, and I was very impressed. Magic Nick did some priority stuff that was really interesting to me. Um, and like I said, playing Steve Avengers rather than Sam Avengers, knowing that you're going to go wide, knowing that you're going to, play the legacy, um, was very interesting to me, but allowed him to do some neat Hulk stuff on turn one with that legacy cure, which was really cool. And it allowed me to see something that I didn't, wasn't used to seeing. So I appreciated about that. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for Lucas. We
Oh,
had,
of course. Me too. I mean,
yeah.
I can't not root for Lucas. I'm very biased in that sense.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're both biased. We obviously had him on the podcast, and if you had an opportunity to hear that interview, go listen to that. It's a great one. Um, but Lucas beat both of us, and so look, it's really neat when
Yeah.
someone beats you and is in the finals. You really want that person to win, so that way you say you lost to the person who won it all.
Oh, I
Uh,
honestly, I thought he was gonna win. I came in, I was like, "Oh, yeah, Lucas is gonna win for sure." Because, I talked to him, he was super confident. I really believed in it. I felt like he had the answers to every question
hmm
that the Avengers roster that Magic Nick has offered. Um, and, ultimately, I mean, Magic Nick played a really good game, and it's hard to take anything away from that. So, I it's just it's too bad. I lost to a finalist, I'll take that. You lost to a finalist.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's hard to, get too sad about it. But, no, I mean, Lucas and I have been I played my first game with him on TTS before season 8 even started,
yeah.
and him and I practiced a bunch with each other. We would message each other, and we played before season 8 started, and he would always kick my butt, and I was like that was during the time when I was struggling against, Shadowland Daredevil, and he was playing that. And I was like, "Man, I can't beat this. What am I doing wrong?" And I remember playing him. It was probably the 3rd or 4th time we played each other, and I had yet to beat him. Every game we played was a blowout. And I remember thinking, granted, this is before I had really honed my foes and I got to a really good point with them where I felt really
Mhm.
confident.
You were still taking well-laid plans.
Probably. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah. Um, I remember thinking, I'm like, this dude is gonna for sure make cut. He is probably a top 4 player this season, and I need to believe that, or else the alternative is I suck because this guy is killing me. And as a person that is competitive, I cannot accept the reality that this is just like an average player just blowing me out every game we play. Um, and I knew, and I told you before you played him, Ben, I was like, this guy is really good. Like he kills me when we play, so like watch out. And seeing him make it all the way to finals, and I'm so sad he lost. I'm all the credit to Magic Nick. I'm happy for him. It's got to be so awesome. The Montreal Shark Tank has just killed it. But it hurt a little to see Lucas lose. So shout out to
Yeah.
him. And you know what I mean, though, Ben, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, for the uninitiative, the Montreal Shark Tank is a group of MCP players, obviously based in Montreal, that they show up to events and just smoke
They just
everybody.
win. Yeah.
They just smoke everybody. They went to a LVO qualifier in, I think it was in Connecticut, if I'm remembering correctly. And they took 4 guys, and all 4 guys, I mean, they were the top 4, and I mean, it was just,
They went to ACO. They
yeah,
dominated.
yeah, dominated ACO. That was another one.
And in
Yeah,
the East bracket in season 8, the first and second place were the 2 Montreal players.
yep. It's
Crazy.
something.
Just
It's
really
something in the
impressive.
water. Yeah, something in the water over there. It's no, they're and Magic Nick's a great guy, and um, props to him, props to Lucas. And now, if I'm going to be completely honest, I am joyfully anticipating some big news in November, from AMG. That's I'm holding on to hope. I'm holding on to hope that we get some big news. But we'll see. We'll see. Where that leads us. But it was an overall really great game. Great players, and like I said, I'm excited. I'm ready to. I don't know about you, Shane, but I'm ready for season 9. Like, I've been out of it for a while, so I'm like just kind of chomping at the bit, just like, all right, let me get back at it. Pickup games only can last for so long for me. I'm like, come on, let me just kind of like a little ravaged, savage dog, just ready to come on. Let me at him. My blob and pyro.
Yeah.
Put my blob and pyro up in here. How about you, Ryan? I know that, Ryan, we're excited to drag you kicking and screaming into the next season. So
Yeah. It depends on when it kicks off, really. Right now, not all of my hobby time, but a lot of my hobby time right now is dedicated to painting up a Black Templars army for Warhammer 40,000 that I'm hoping to get ready before a tournament here in Rochester called The Boys that's happening in towards the end of November. So I'm kind of crunching down on that right now. So I'm depending on when season 9 kicks off, I don't know if I would have the time to dedicate to that. But I mean, I hope I would be able to.
You
well,
gotta. Honestly, chances are, if I had to guess, I feel like the season 9, like TTS season is probably going to start early December, late November, if I had to guess. Either way. And they have a mid-season swap for like you can change your roster there
Yeah.
too. So
Mhm.
you should do it for sure. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
so
I
fun,
want
like
to.
all the prep and like prepping with
Yeah.
your like practice partners is so fun.
Mhm.
I love the season, and shout out to the people that run it because it is such a good thing, and it's really inspired me to like change how I do the kill team stuff for TTS on the command point Discord.
Yeah.
So and I'm making big moves over there just based on all the stuff I've seen from the TTS MCP league. So yeah, just huge
Mhm.
shout out there. So everybody that runs the stuff, you guys do a great job. For the longest time on Command Point, I've just run the tournaments myself for like the past few months, and I'm just like seeing how they do things on the TTS MCP one, and I'm like, what am I doing? They have like so many TOs and judges, and
Mhm.
they're so well organized. So they do a great job. So shout out to them, like
Yeah.
Dizzard and all those people, and like Gronko and everybody. So I don't know everybody's names, but if you're involved in this in the season 8 league, if you've been a TO, just you've done a great job. It's been an awesome time. So huge shout out.
So do we want to kind of break down the stats just a little bit here regarding Season 8 and some of these affiliation performances and stuff like that?
No,
The one-
absolutely.
Yeah,
the
so
one,
where's it?
sorry, the one that I'm looking at that just makes me giggle so much.
Is it the
I wanna-
number one?
Yeah, the
is
number
this-
one is making me
is
giggle.
number one, which is also the bottom 10 affiliation, the least taken affiliation, which is X Force, that has a win rate of 83.33%. Woo! Go X
Well,
Force!
yeah, you can thank your friend Tim from Professional Casual Network for that one, I'm sure,
Oh, he
because
carried.
they had 6 games played and an 83% win rate. So in the mirrorless wins table, they had 5 wins. So shout out to
Shout out
X
to
Force.
shout out to X
Clearly
Force.
the best team, right?
Obviously.
Numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah, numbers don't lie.
And only to a close second is the second best team,
Right.
unaffiliated,
Yeah.
You
who
know,
had 4 games
who had
with a
4
75% win rate, meaning they won 3, lost only 1.
No, it is fun to see like how your team did. I will note that my Brotherhood significantly trumped your Spider Foes. Just
Oh, for sure. But that only makes my Spider Foes performance more impressive.
that it does.
It does,
It
yeah.
does.
The Goblin King.
Right. I wonder how long that it takes before people get annoyed with that.
They're probably annoyed already.
You
Yeah,
know,
so
I will say, like, I think we should each pick a team to talk about from this, like, this table
Mm.
and try to break it down. So I'll start. I think we should talk a little bit about Avengers, and I'll explain why. Because Avengers had a 51% win rate, which doesn't sound amazing. It sounds a little bit above average. But if you look at the most played games table, they had 164 games played, which is the most of any team. Only one ahead of Criminal Syndicate, but outside of that, they kind of blew everything else out of the water.
yeah,
And it makes sense because Avengers are extremely popular. Everybody loves the Avengers. There's been several amazing Avengers movies from the MCU, and they're like the big good guys of the Marvel universe. So it makes sense that they are the most played thing. And a lot of the time we've seen, if in a lot of different games, and Ryan, you can attest to this,
Oh, yeah.
if the main thing isn't like even okay, if I guess I should rephrase, if the main thing isn't very good, very, very good, it's probably going to have a losing win rate because, the casual player is going to gravitate towards this team. And I think Avengers fit this bill, right? I think a lot of casual players are going to gravitate towards Avengers because it's Avengers,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's the Avengers. They're everybody loves them. So the fact that the Avengers have a positive win rate, despite this fact, is pretty impressive. Granted, it's barely positive. It's a 51.83% win rate, but they're the most played team. And we just saw them win season 8.
Yep.
Yep.
So I think there's something to be said for how good Avengers are in the meta right now. And obviously, I mean, they won NashCon with Sam Avengers. They won Nova with Sam Avengers, and they've won Season 8 with Steve Avengers. Granted, I think Magic Nick played Sam Avengers occasionally throughout season. I think he played it against Morgan Reed. So it's not like it was pure Steve Avengers. It was
Right. Right.
Avengers with both leaders and taking different leaders, Steve or Sam, depending on the matchup. So I don't know. What do you guys? I'll start with Ben. What do you think about Avengers right now? I mean, they're clearly quite good. They just won the season. So
Yeah, I I think one of their strengths is the same thing of why we're seeing Cabal, have a resurgence not only because of Malekith, but is because of the depth of their affiliation.
Hmm.
Both Cabal and Avengers have the most characters in affiliation, and that just gives you so much flexibility. Um, and this is what Magic Nick really did well was he understood his matchup, who to take, what to bring, when to bring it, and I love it. You can almost take an all like I said all mono Avengers list and be highly competitive. And some of these Steve Avengers or Sam Avengers rosters are all affiliated. Maybe minus Black Cat because I keep forgetting that she's not affiliated.
yeah, she's
But
the only one.
uh, she's like the only one. So it's something that is their strength. And like you said, and I think that's really important that a lot of people are going to be familiar with of these Avengers through media and also the core box. Steve getting updated last November was really important. We saw Sam Spam do really well in season 5 and 6. Sam Spam did really well. And we saw kind of a drop off of Steve because he had not been updated yet. I mean, he was still around. People were still using him because he's not terrible. I think the Steve leadership is probably the best leadership in the entire game. We joked about this last week or last podcast. What makes Steve so great is literally you just pick another character who has any superpowers, and bam, Steve just makes them better.
That's
Uh,
so good. Such a good
yeah.
leadership.
Yep. It just makes them real good. And the more superpowers you have, the more Steve makes you better. Um, so I think that's the thing with Steve. Sam is a little bit more tricky, but once you kind of get the hang of the game and how Sam wants to play, they're a really good team. So
I
yeah, I
mean,
think
clearly, I mean, Magic Nick was willing to play Sam. He did it against Morgan Reed. I'm sure he did it uh, more than once this season, but the
yeah.
we saw the most was his games with Steve and how he abused the legacy virus and
Yep.
running voodoo and cat and Steve and just how good that is.
I think you had mentioned it, earlier that of all the crises that probably need to get banned, legacy viruses is one of those. AMG is going to run into a problem here soon that you know a lot of these crises weren't getting abused as much because almost every release cycle we were getting some new crisis cards. So people didn't have a lot of time to figure out how to abuse these as well because we were just cycling so many different crises into the game. But we haven't had a new crisis in a very long time, and we're losing them. We're losing them more than we're gaining them, and but by losing them, I mean we've banned two already,
Yeah.
uh, which needed to get banned. Don't get me wrong; they needed to get banned for the. I
And
think
debatably, I mean, Legacy needs to get banned as well.
I wholeheartedly
So
agree with that. Yeah, I think which just again narrows the field a little bit more, and I think we need to add some more crises to prevent some of the kind of shenanigans. 8 points in a single turn in a 16-point game is real good. Go
yeah.
figure. Go figure. It's pretty interesting. They're a really strong affiliation. Like I said, I think they're the strongest affiliation in the game, and probably will be for quite some time.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say regarding Avengers. I'm not really surprised that they were able to, win the whole thing.
I don't know. Is this the first time Avengers have won like a TTS season?
No, Sam Avengers won a couple times.
I guess that makes sense.
So did we want to look at any of the other factions?
We could talk about Spider Foes a little bit more.
Yeah, let's talk about Spider Foes a little bit more.
So Spider Foes had a 46% win rate. I first of all, I'm really surprised. So Spider Foes had more games played than Web Warriors and
Mhm.
Black Order and Asgard. I didn't know
Yeah.
that there was this many Spider Foes players. I would imagine that Web Warriors would auto be more popular than Spider Foes.
Yeah,
Why
that's
would
that's
Spider-Man's villains be more popular than Spider-Man?
Oh, because they're way cooler, Shane. I've
They
got
they are, it's true.
let me send you what my current lock screen on my phone is right now. We'll do it
Yeah.
live. This picture will
I
show why Spider Foes are cooler.
Oh, I can't wait.
This picture goes hard. Feel free to screenshot.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a great picture.
Tell me that
It's
doesn't
Venom.
go hard, dude.
It goes super hard. It's Venom dunking on Spider-Man, and
Yep.
Venom is dunking a basketball. It's like a basketball game.
Yeah.
That's great. So, no, really, there were 71 Spider Foes games, and there was 68 Web Warriors. That being said, Spider Foes had a 46% win rate. Web Warriors had a 42%, of course, because they're so inferior. But seriously, the Spider Foes having a 46% win rate. I wish it was lower because then it would make me feel better about myself for how I did this season. But really, it just makes Matt Alex seem more impressive, who I played against in top 16. But I really love the current situation for Spider Foes because I think, and I keep seeing people say this, like that they're trying out the trap house list with Spider Foes with Nova and Goblin and Mysterio. And I bet next season we're gonna see that more. And if I never do well again, if I never make cuts again, I can at least say I changed the meta a little bit for Spider Foes. Because I bet next season the Spider Foes win rate is a little bit higher because
Ooh.
people play the way that I do with Cassandra, and I think that is easily a 50% win rate kind of thing. Like easily. It's so good, and playing with Cassandra and Mysterio and Venom and those characters together, if you're allowed the opportunity, is so strong. And being able to like, because being a 50% winner, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're making cuts or making top 8 like I did this season. But it's like eh, you just need to be able to beat 50%, right? Of the field, so to speak. And I think that the mental load that Cassandra Nova and Mysterio and Venom and Goblin put on when you put them on the same roster together is really heavy. And I think it's even in the hands of a less skilled player, I think is enough to win half of your games, in my opinion. So I'm happy with foes right now. I don't think that they're like a weak affiliation despite this 46% win rate. And I'm excited rather to see the developments. And maybe somebody takes foes next season and does even better than I did and takes it even further. And I'm just excited to see the development that this affiliation can take. So I love Spider Foes, and I'm excited for the future for the affiliation, especially because we have new releases coming out pretty soon. So
Big
that is
wheel.
big wheel
Big wheel.
for sure.
I
Anybody else have anything to say about Spider Foes? Ben, you've played against my Spider Foes a million times, so I mean,
I hope I want to see more Spider Foes players because, like I said, you have trained. Yeah, I'm super prepared. I could look at a Spider Foes matchup and go, I got this. Let's do it.
that's true. If the
That's
meta is Spider Foes, Ben, you're ready for it.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I'll go 5-1. I'll lose.
And
I'll lose.
Ryan, you too. You only play against Spider Foes most of the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I just need more Spider Foes matchups in my life, and
Right.
I won't tell them how to beat Magneto.
Yeah. Unlike me, they don't know the secrets.
They
They don't
don't
know
know
to take Venom and throw Magneto into the
just
dust.
throw.
So, what do you guys think of like the who were the winners and the losers faction wise when it comes to season 8? Who really like performed, I guess, like above what you would expect, and who underperformed?
Ben, I'll let you start.
Uh, you know who actually was a big surprise was Wakanda. Um, I think Wakanda is an amazing affiliation. The Wakanda Wave rosters are really really strong, and I think they struggled against Malekith initially, but I think now people are seeing how to deal with that. I ran Wakanda in the second half of the season for a while, and had some fun. Um, and I mean they had a 60% win rate, but you'll notice they only played 35 games, um, which is bonkers to me. Absolutely bonkers to me that Wakanda only played 35 games. Um, and just so that you know, to put that in perspective, Defenders, one of the worst, in my opinion, one of the worst affiliations, was 33 games.
Ugh.
And they had a win rate of 42%. So for you mathematicians over there, you could probably do the math faster than I could. I'd have to, take off my socks to count of how many games they actually won with that percentage. But it's one of those things. I think Wakanda still has a lot to offer the community. I hope they get some more in affiliation characters. Um, but I think that they're another winner. I think there's of this season. And just like Spider Foes, I think if I could take Shane's thunder for a second, I think the biggest win out of this season was Spider Foes. Shane, amongst other Spider Foes players in a couple other divisions, showed uh, that Spider Foes actually have some play. I think there was a lot of going into season 8. There was a lot of complaints about where Spider Foes was, and I think you know AMG, please give Spider Foes some tactic cards. That'd be kind of cool.
Ugh,
But
please.
um, but there's a lot of play, and it's not just the traps shenanigans. There's a couple other neat ways that people have been successful with Spider Foes. So for me, the two big winners of season 8 is Wakanda again is a kind of carryover from season 7, but I think the biggest winner for season 8 is Spider Foes.
I guess I'll do my winner and my loser. I think a big winner from this season, and it didn't reflect too much in cuts, but X Men. I
Hmm.
think they had a really great season, and I was, as a Spider Foes player, I was really disappointed that they didn't go further in cuts because I think Foes have a great matchup against X Men. But no, generally speaking, I think X Men were really good this season. They had a 59.50% win rate, and they had 121 games played. So that's a
Yeah.
really good sample size and an amazing win rate. I mean, everything above X Men, Winter Guard, Wakanda, Unaffiliated, and X Force combined don't even have half of the games played as X Men. So I think if you just look at the win rate
Mm-hmm.
as like a volume of games played, I mean, X Men had a really, really good season, and the players that were playing X Men, and there was a lot of them, did very well. And I personally think we'll get into this later. I think X Men is going to continue to be a really good team in the current meta for Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I know that a lot of X Men players are not happy for a variety of reasons because the Wolverine's not good, Jean Grey's not good, Cyclops is not good, and New Logan is an X Men. But all of that aside, you have a really big choice of characters in your affiliation, and a lot of those characters are very, very good, especially the three threats, which I think is the most important area to have good characters in. and they did really well. Granted, I'm sure that win rate dropped once Malekith came out, but I think in a Malekith heavy meta, I don't think X-Men are worse off than other teams because I think X-Men are really well positioned to score well and score fast. And I
Mhm.
think that is a really important aspect for a team to have
Yeah.
going forward in the meta. And I think you
Hmm.
need to be able to score really quickly, and X-Men do that. So I think I consider them to be a big winner in the current meta. As far as a loser goes, that's a tough call because I mean you could take the easy route and say something like defenders who haven't had any releases, who are just desperate, dying for any tactic cards at all. I mean, I say that as a Spider Foes player. I mean, defenders are way more parched than we are
Yeah.
for tactic cards. They have one, right? They have just one, and that's it. So I mean, I kind of want to say defenders because we even saw like Sooner take defenders, and he's an amazing player who has won a past season, and even he couldn't make cuts with defenders. So I mean, what does that say about that affiliation?
Mm.
To me, that doesn't reflect badly on Sooner. It reflects badly on defenders. So that's one that I'm tempted to say I'm down on. You could also potentially say Brotherhood. Sorry, Ben.
Okay.
Brotherhood is a loser this season because last season they were in the finals and they had the
Yeah.
highest win rate of all the teams in the whole game. And this season they're eighth, which is great out of 22 affiliations, but or 21 affiliations. 22 if you got unaffiliated, but
Yeah.
21 affiliations to go from having the highest win rate and being in the finals to being eighth,
Yeah.
despite having the third most games played, I think.
I will I will jump in as the the Brotherhood player and say it does really hurt when you have one character who turns off your affiliation.
Yeah, especially if it's the
Oh,
most meta character
it is
right now.
the most meta character who shows up and goes, "You're playing Brotherhood. Good luck."
Yeah.
Um, that does it does hurt a little bit, but yeah, I think that's super fair. You know, if there was a pretty high expectation, you know, I think Shane, you and I were talking about this a little while ago. Of Brotherhood was on par, you know, as the big baddies, right? You know, people, if you were a Brotherhood player, and I got this all the time, like, oh, you're one of those, you're a Brotherhood player, you know, oh, boo, you know. Um, Same thing, you know, with Black Order. You know, the two kind of big boogies were Black Order and Brotherhood at the time, and so people got really frustrated when you would show up with those. And it's one of those things that you know the meta has changed, which I think is good. I think it's healthy for a game system when the meta shifts, it moves, and you know is alive in that way. But what do you think there, Ryan? I know that, but what are your initial thoughts, kind of looking at just at the numbers?
Yeah, so I was not able to follow the league as closely as I wanted to, as much as you guys were able to this season. But probably the thing that stuck out to me the most, and this is simply because I'm looking at to start collect this affiliation, is Black Order's performance.
Hmm.
They look like a loser to me. 43.08 win rate. They had a healthy amount of games played, 65 in total it looks like. So I mean
Yeah.
that's a healthy amount. That's only 3 less than Web Warriors. So I mean it looks to me, I don't know if like what do you guys think happened here? Do you think that like good players just kind of like abandoned the faction in favor of Avengers, Sam, whatever, plus some other faction with Malekith, or what do you think happened here?
What I can tell you from a lot of the Black Order players that I know that are in the TTS league, I know many of them jumped ship from Black Order and completely changed affiliations and went into Cabal.
Gotcha.
Uh, because they could do now what Black Order was trying to do, but better. Um, with the arrival of Malekith and you know some of the other shenanigans. And then you had some folks who were trying out the first of the Black Order, play style with Corvus being a pseudo leader,
Hmm.
which is cool. I think that's great. I think it's sad that it counts as a tactic card, and Convocation has the same thing but doesn't count as a tactic card. But I think that's a fair assessment that Black Order, is kind of one of the losers. Again, they were. I think Morgan won last season with Black Order, if I'm remembering
It was
correctly.
Guardians, but he did have
Was it?
Thanos.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's you're right. But anyways, yeah, I think that's a super fair assessment, Ryan.
And to interject a little bit, I think it's interesting that if you look at Kenny G, I think he made top 8. He didn't make top 4, but he made top 8 with the Corvus almost pretty much exclusively, to my knowledge, running the Corvus-led Black Order,
Hmm.
and nobody had a super amazing performance this season with the Thanos-led Black Order. And going into the season, it kind of seemed like the impression was that Corvus, that tactic card, the Corvus First of the Black Order, it was probably one of the worst leaderships in the game. At least that was the impression. And yet here we are, and the only success we're seeing from Black Order is Corvus led Black Order. And maybe I'm biased because before this happened, I mean, I was watching Jason, who is a player in our local meta. He was before Malekith came out and he picked up Malekith and started playing Cabal. He was just killing it at our local store with Corvus Black Order. And
Hmm.
I was like, huh, oh, it's pretty cool that you're doing really well with that, even though it's not good. Like that was my thought. But now the only Black Order, the good Black Order performances we're seeing are from Corvus. So maybe that needs to be explored more. But I do agree with Ryan's point that the traditional Black Order that we know and we've seen it seems to be worse right now. And I think Malekith is a part of that. But
Hmm.
I think there's probably a lot of factors going into that. I mean, space and reality gem getting restricted. You can no longer take those with your patch up or your brace for impact or even follow me now. Granted, that didn't reflect in the season, but I think that definitely hurt the team. Um, but I think something like Reality Corvus doesn't lean quite as hard on that because necessarily, you might have Thanos in your roster. Maybe he doesn't have a space gem. Maybe it's like Power Mind or Power Soul. And you've got Reality Corvus, and you still have room for another tactic slot, and you can go wider, and you're a little bit more flexible. So that's something I want to keep a closer eye on going into the next season. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Black Order.
So
Yeah.
speaking of keeping your eye on things going into the next season, you guys got any early predictions for what's going to be good next season?
Ooh, but I'll let you go first.
Hydra. Baron Strucker Hydra is going to be some something to keep an eye for. I think there's some play with Papa Red Skull, Master of Hydra. I think he's going to bring something really interesting to the game. Um, I think Baron Strucker Hydra is going to be a pain in a lot of people's butts. I really do. Baron or not Baron, almost all of them feel like a Baron. Armin Zola and his scientific method. Shane and I were exploring some of the kind of shenanigans that you can do with that, and it can kind of get crazy. One of the funniest lists that I'm actually thinking about, maybe bringing to like a local game, is doing the High Council with cloning vats where you can add an extra 7 points of characters to a game.
Oh God,
So, you thought we were playing a 20-point game? Well, I'm playing 27 points. So, uh, uh,
what threat do you even need to make that? So you need
it's
Zemo, Strucker, so that's 6, and Zola, so that's 9, and then any Red Skull. So let's assume you're playing the cheaper Red Skull, so that's 13, and then you need 4 more points for Sinister,
yep,
so 17.
yep.
So you need
You
you
can
could
do
do
it
it
at
at
17.
17. So you could
it,
run a 20. I mean, 24-point list.
yep.
I mean,
It's
that's pretty
it's
funny.
silly. It's silly. Is it good? Probably not, but it's silly.
Yeah, to get there,
um,
it's such a journey.
yeah. But in all seriousness, I think Baron Strucker with what I don't think people have explored, and what I think is really cool about Baron Strucker and what he brings to the game is kind of the anti-Winter Guard, where Winter Guard were removing conditions at a faster pace than Asgard was. Baron Strucker is going to be slapping conditions on people at a point where I don't think they're fully ready for them. I think, the one game that we played, Shane, was like, oh, and your entire team's poisoned.
Oh my god, it was so
And
annoying. It's so
oh, and
annoying to play against.
yep. And I daze you, and then congratulations, when you wake up, I poison everybody again. So, so you'll never have power. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be very good. So that's a
So,
long,
okay, I'm
long
gonna
way,
put you on the
long way
spot
of saying,
here. I'm
hit
gonna
me.
put you on the spot here, Ben. Next season, season 9, we're
Season
looking
9.
at the season 9 TTS results.
Oof,
Give me a prediction on the win rate of Hydra.
I hate you. Why you do this to me?
Oh, I know I'm killing you here, aren't I?
I know. I'm going to say 53.48%.
Oh, wow. That's brutal.
Exact.
We're
Quote
gonna
me.
round up or down for you, just to it'd be not, totally unfair, but that's
uh,
it, I like it.
yeah.
To keep in mind, the closest to what you're describing right now is between Brotherhood and Syndicate. We had a
Yep.
52 and a 55 this season.
Yep. I think they're, I think they're going to get close to 100 games played. I think they're going to be where Convocation is, around 92.
Okay, I like that. I think that's a fair argument.
What about
Um,
you? What about you? What are your predictions? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to make this might not be a hot prediction, but I have good reasoning for why it's going to be good. I think I was just talking about it. I think X-Men are going to continue to be very, very good in the meta going forward. So they were great this season. They 59% win rate, like I said. A ton of games played. I think it was 121 games played. They had a 59% win rate. The reason I think they're going to continue to be good where other teams kind of falter is that I think that if there's one thing that we can anticipate, it is a Malekith meta.
Mm,
No, I'm
Mhm.
not saying that X-Men is particularly good in a vacuum against Malekith, but what does X-Men love? Pay to flips. Mutant Madmen, spider portals, meteors, although Malekith doesn't hate meteors, but still pay to flips. And I think that is the one area where Malekith kind of struggles is in the exact situation where you're playing on a pay to flip, you're playing super wide, which X-Men can do. They have a lot of amazing three threats. They have a three
Yeah.
threat leader. They can do this on a pay to flip like Mutant Madmen or Spider Portals. And Malekith just can't. He can't eat your team fast enough
Yeah.
mm.
He
as
can't
you
be everywhere
score.
in once. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Ryan, you and I played on a pay to flip just a
Speaking
week
from
ago.
experience, yeah.
Yeah, and that was Spider Foes versus Malekith on Mutant Madmen, playing a really high scoring situation.
Yeah. And Malekith didn't do nothing. He was able to, take down basically an entire side of the table
Yep.
by himself, just soloing, but
And
you still were
with that
able to
context,
outpace me. Yeah.
yeah, and with that context, X-Men is even better than Spider Foes at that game, at creating that early lead and playing it very well. And I think to an extent you could also see this from Mystique Brotherhood, but I mean that's a whole other thing. But I think X Men are going to continue to be very, very relevant in the meta. What do you guys think about X Men?
I think you're spot on with your assessment. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, it checks out.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, they have the second highest win rate. Like if you scrub out X Force with their like 5 games and unaffiliated and Winter Guard who have like 5 games, it's Wakanda in first and then X Men.
Mm-hmm.
Play 2 of those Winter Guard games, by the way. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And unlike Wakanda, I think X-Men are actually bumping up in this meta. I don't see Wakanda being particularly better going forward.
Mm,
Not that they're going to be bad, But I think X-Men are actually well adjusted for the future meta. So I see them continuing to do really, really well.
So, for my way too early prediction for season 9, I think, since, we're talking about entering a Malekith meta here, I think Asgard's going to go up. And I'm
Very
just
good for
not
you.
going to elaborate any further. No,
I see it. I see it for sure.
I mean, I got my butt whooped by Asgard, um, playing Malekith, and part of that definitely was due to my inexperience into playing against that faction. But the fact that you can take Recalibration Matrix on top of Odin's Blessing, and you can use either of those cards on anybody on in your affiliation, um, as long as you have the power for it, it's really, really good at shutting down Malekith's offensive output, and your opponent's sinking that 7 power, or excuse me, that 7 those 7 points whenever they're building their list. Um, if you can nullify his damage output for 2 turns, say he somehow whiffs on another turn, you're looking pretty good. So I mean, I think Asgard has the proper tools to tech into a Malekith meta.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think with Malekith as a 7 threat model, yeah, I mean, I think we all agree he's too good. He's very, very strong. But a lot of the time, he's so good and consistent that he's allowed to whiff once or twice in a game because he's going to make up for that, right?
Yeah,
But
but
again,
when he's doing it 2 or 3 times a game, excuse me, that's when you're like, man, I really wish
exactly.
I just had done something else.
Yeah, because like he might whiff once a game, and then you Odin's Blessing another big hit, and then you Recalibration Matrix another big hit, and suddenly like that's several activations that Malekith is just not doing what he needs to do
Mm-hmm.
to make up for that threat level cost on the team. So I could for sure see Asgard performing a little bit better. I'm not worthy, clearly, but somebody out there is worthy of the Asgard mantle. And I think we're gonna see it. I mean, a 42% win rate, that's gonna jump up for sure, I think.
I don't know. I've been around the block with Asgard. I'm also not worthy, so I will quantify this by saying I'm clearly not worthy either. I don't think a pure Asgard, not to say that it's a mono Asgard team. I think there are competitive ways that you can run Asgard, but Thor is just not good.
No, I mean, you're
And
preaching
when
to the choir right now,
Yep.
man.
Yep. Alex, and I tried to warn you. My warning, I was on another podcast recently talking about Thor, and and I tried to warn people to say, now this was before Juggernaut, but I took Thor all the time in my Brotherhood list because I thought, I mean, all the throw shenanigans, was great, but he's so dicey, and when you need your 5 threats to play like a 5 threat. Shane can tell you, when the great thing about Cassandra Nova, why she's really worthy of a 5 threat, is she's doing so much. She's doing things during her turn. She's doing things during your opponent's turn. Shane invests, 2 to 3 tactic cards for her, um, and you get some output from that. But with Thor, um, if you don't get 1 turn of him not doing something, if you miss a wild trigger, right? If you do no damage on for Asgard, um, it's just it just hurts and it's hard to bounce back from. What you will see, like you saw in the tournament that you guys were at in Rochester, bold prediction, you're going to see recalibration taken 70 plus time and 70% in rosters taken for season 9 if nothing changes
I don't think
from.
that's a bold prediction at all.
Yeah,
Actually, I
yeah,
think that's a very lukewarm take.
that's the answer to Malekith. I mean, Odin's Blessing is nice. Um,
It's great.
but it's one of those things that when I play against Asgard, you can fish that out by top of turn 2. Um, Cabal
Yeah,
can
I
do
do think
whatever.
Angela is very, very good against Malekith, to be fair. I think there's something to be said there.
Yes, yeah, I think that's super fair. I think Asgard can run a very interesting, potentially Asgardian Malekith, or Hulk Asgard.
The
Is
cursed team up of Thor and Malekith.
right. Yeah, Butcher of Thor. Look away, Thor. Look away. Um, but in terms of teams that could just do it a little bit better, so I would counter your prediction of seeing an increase of the win rate. I'm going to say this is my prediction for Asgard, because Asgard currently has 56 games. I think they hit the 70 mark of games played, and their win rate probably goes down to 40%. That's my prediction. Is
So, I
they
mean,
increase games played, decrease wins.
I'll do a bet on that. It's funny because I really am shying away from saying that Thor is a bad character. I don't
I'm
wanna
just
say that. I don't wanna come out
I'm
and say that.
I'll say it. I'll say it for
But
you. He's
man, I think Thor sucks, dude. My experience with Thor has been nothing but negative. I think he's horrible. But I do agree with Ryan that they have the tools to be better, and that's why I've been driving myself crazy the past couple weeks trying to make Asgard work, and I've just come to the conclusion that I'm not worthy. But somebody out there is worthy, and I think
Well, statistics show that 1 in 3 people are worthy. So maybe it's me if it's not you two guys.
yeah, there we go.
Ryan,
Yeah,
I think we figured it out. You need to play Asgard.
yeah, we
Yeah, I'll
figured it
pick
out.
up the affiliation pack tomorrow.
There
It's
you
too
go.
bad that it has Hela in it, right?
It
Yeah.
is too bad.
That's when I was building my
Shit,
roster, that was the
Angela in it.
only affiliated character that I immediately didn't put in.
Yeah.
And I want Hela to be good. I think Hela's cool, but I think they will jump up. I mean, we'll do a bet on this, Ben.
We'll mark it. The beginning of season 9, we need to have win rate guesses for every single affiliation.
Oh,
I'm
I can't
I'm gonna
wait.
I'm gonna tell you that Sentinels are gonna have a higher win rate than Asgard.
Well, I mean, Sentinels might be good. So here's a real bet. What about who's going to have a higher win rate? Because you say they're going to have a 40% win rate. They're going to drop to 40, right?
Yep.
So you're saying, who do you think is going to have a better win rate? Asgard or Midnight Suns, who are sitting at
Ooh,
a 38% this season?
Mm,
ooh. I think Midnight Suns probably stays right where they are.
What about
um,
what about Defenders, who are above a 40% win rate? They're at a 42,
yeah, they got
right below.
33 games played. I think, and this is really up to Sooner of what faction, what little orphan
Yeah.
faction that Sooner is going to champion.
Sooner
Uh,
definitely boosted that win rate. I mean, they would
yep.
probably be around the Midnight Suns level if not for Sooner, but you
Yes.
know,
Yeah. Sooner, what he does every season is he champions an orphan, a little orphan affiliation that just is not doing great, and he brings them up to prominence. And Defenders was the first one that he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it
yeah.
with.
Midnight's, oh, sorry, not Midnight Suns. You know who needs a champion? Is Inhumans, who have a 28% win rate in 25 games played.
Love it.
Somebody needs to come out and be the champion for Inhumans. It's not going to be me, so I'm
It's
going to
not
keep
going to
my
be me.
close.
It's
But
not going to
somebody
be.
out there needs to do it. And because man, that's such a good leadership. I know Black Bolt sucks, but like that leadership is so good. It's so good, right? And they've got Medusa, who's
Mhm.
great. I don't know. Somebody's got to fix Inhumans like without before AMG does it because
Yeah,
Inhumans is great. Like there's something there, right? There's got to be something.
yeah. I think Winter Guard goes up to 30 games played and probably sits around 50% win rates too.
50?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. I could see them around 42.
I'm just gonna copy paste my hard Slav Winter Guard list in Winter Guard chat. So here you go, guys.
Yeah,
Just go nuts and be a jerk.
real
Spoiler alerts.
awful.
It's just 3 Winter Guard and Malekith, and you have fun.
That could be a 50 to be fair.
Yeah,
Um
it's
But
gross.
yeah, we've gone way over the runtime, Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's been a good time. You go ahead and take us from here.
Sure. Thank you to everybody for watching on YouTube and tuning in on whatever podcast platform you are listening to. We really appreciate your time listening to us. We have a lot of fun here, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the podcast so far. If you have just stumbled into this and you have not already, feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. You can subscribe to us on your Apple Podcasts or your Spotify, YouTube, whatever have you. We also do have a Patreon, which is kind of set up just as like a tip jar for you guys. If you ever feel so inclined to help support the channel, you can go ahead and support us monthly there for as little as $1 a month. And we have also launched our YouTube membership. So if you are watching on YouTube and you don't feel like signing up for the Patreon or whatever, then you can just support us through YouTube as well. Every little bit helps to keep the lights on here at the podcast, as well as to kind of expand the quantity of the content that we put out, as well as its quality. And we appreciate every single bit of your guys' support. If you guys want to give us any feedback, feel free to comment down in the comment section below or leave a rating on whatever podcast app you're listening to. Once again, we really appreciate your time. Hope you guys are enjoying the podcast, and we hope to see you again in the next one.